In this video, we are going to discuss how to approach the argumentative writing task with the tips and tricks to attempt an argumentative essay or any other kind of question. And as we all know that now in paper 2 writing, we have the argumentative essay, that is in directed writing task. As you all know, according to the new syllabus, now we have section A, directed writing, and the instructions from the Cambridge examiners are: candidates read one or two texts totaling approximately 400 to 450 words in length. They use, develop and evaluate the information in the text to create a discursive or argumentative, persuasive speech, email, report, letter or article. So now we are going to discuss how to attempt the argumentative writing task in our directed writing. Argumentative essays, some of the tips and tricks are that first of all, you have to read the topic carefully, underline the main point, that is a compulsory part. Then decide for or against, that is, are you in favor or against. Then jot down all the relevant and logical points related to your opinion. Spend 5-10 minutes to 10 minutes doing this in the form of notes. Of course, when we are going to attempt the directed writing question, we are going to read twice and we are going to underline, and then we have to jot down quick notes before we attempt the question. Then there is the opening. So the instructions are given. As you can see that you just need a thesis statement. No quotes are needed, and you will state it at the beginning of your essay, most preferably in the opening paragraph. And the manners in which you can start the essay, that is, now in directed writing you have a letter, formal, informal, email, formal and informal, report, speech or magazine article. So according to the format and register, you are going to start and underline the points and then evaluate them, but you have to adopt the tone appropriate to the task. For example, if it is a letter, then it should look like a letter. If it's a report, then the format and the tone is totally appropriate to the report writing techniques. So then ease into the topic, then generally give your opinion. For example, now there is an example: studies, the social media has greatly increased over the last 4 years. Nowadays it has become a necessity for teenagers, I personally believe. So you can begin the topic like this, then start directly by exclaiming a valid point. As you can see, the point is given here, and next you have this 3-point structure for the main body of your essay. General for argument include all valid points that are logical and emphasize on them. So you have to evaluate and then you have to give your own opinion according to the instructions, the bullet points that are given in directed writing task. That next point is very, very important, and that is the counter argument, which you are going, when you're going to evaluate in the argumentative writing task, you have to give your counter opinion. Pick out your strongest counter arguments and state them. Be completely logical and honest when pointing the counter arguments. The reason for is that if you're writing in favor, someone also will write against it. So the next point is disputing counter argument. After writing the counter arguments, you must dispute them, prove them to be either wrong. As you can see in this example of the social media, it is written, and you have to remind yourselves that when you're going to evaluate, then disputing this counter argument. So you have to what is the strategy and what are the points that you are going to have while disputing the counter argument which you have already discussed. So conclude your essay by restating your opinion in different perspective, that is, you could say other resources of communication, as you can read, should be adopted. And after disputing your counter arguments, finish on a high note by adding a strong ending sentence to conclude your essay or the letter or the speech or the article. So what does it mean to evaluate? Put simply, when we evaluate a writer's idea, we weigh up the pros and cons of what is being expressed. We think carefully about the arguments presented before giving our own opinions. Successful argumentative writing evaluates skillfully. We never give a one-sided response. We should always aim to acknowledge both sides of an argument. So these are the instructions you must follow before you are going to attempt the directed writing question. Another important point for the directed writing task, how you are going to attempt it skillfully, is that an evaluation is not a summary. This is one of the weakest area, where the students are mostly making mistakes. That is, they are summarizing whatever it is written. That is not at all evaluation. Summarizing involves taking ideas directly from a text and repeating them. Evaluation means making judgments. You not only take words from the text but also contextualize them to your own situation. Compare. Now these are the steps you must follow. Compare and contrast the ideas in both texts. Evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of each argument. It involves reasoning and analyzing the argument. Suppose you have picked up certain points from the task, and now you are going to elaborate them. So what is being required is that you are going to analyze the strengths. If it is in some point is given, then you have to analyze, okay, these are the sum of this strength and some of maybe there can be negative points. So rhetorical questions and other techniques can help you here. Consider alternatives, viewpoint, counter argument. Now the other important point to attempt to improve our directed writing task is that we have to make the use of counter arguments. That is, and mostly it would be coming in our the paragraph in which we are going to express our own views. What is a counter argument? We are further going to elaborate it, explore other perspectives that might not be covered in the text. So counter arguments can be used in the to elaborate those points which are not included, and but based on the texts, or one text or the two texts, but you are going to give your own views and you are going to give the counter argument. Now let's see what is a counter argument. A counter argument is the thoughtful response you give when you disagree with someone's ideas or claims. Here on this slide, as you can see, the definition of counter argument and examples are given so that you may understand it and how you are going to use this technique in your directed writing. A counter argument is an opposing perspective or ideas presented against a prevailing argument or position. It challenges the main argument, offering a different interpretation or evidence. Use of a counter argument also helps you to win debates and helps to ensure information and knowledge is as accurate as possible. And the examples are, when you're going to dispute the facts, you can examine the facts presented by your opponent and dispute them if flawed or invalid. And there is another aspect, example is ethical dispute. You can counter your opponent by challenging their arguments on ethical grounds. So you can have the example of a counter argument. Your argument can be cell phones in class have a negative influence on student learning. Suppose the article is discussing, and now you are going to, after the evaluation, you are going to give the your own perspective. So you can have the counter argument. Cell phones in class are a good thing because they aid student learning and allow students to look up new words and information. So this is how you have countered the main argument.
End of part 1.